In the future, any of your relatives or descendants can talk to you about your life and have a conversation with your AI echo about your life. So we called it the ultimate genealogical tool because you can talk to your relatives long after your death.
Hello and welcome to the Imagine AI Live podcast. I'm your host, Chris Madden, and today we have back with us again, Steve Endacott. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm good, thanks, Chris.
And really better known probably as AI Steve, because you hit the internet by storm with your AI candidacy that you created an AI bot that helped like pitch your policies and talk to voters. I first want to know how that went. That was back in June, I believe. How did that go?
As a prototype, it went excellent because we got enormous coverage for it. But the problem with the UK system is it's first past the post in a very tiny band of voters. So I stood in Brighton Pavilion, which is about a 2 mile by 2 mile square, and getting national and international coverage, believe me, is a lot easier than getting local coverage from local papers and the local BBC. Would you believe the BBC have a policy of not covering independent candidates because it showed bias against the big parties? What?
That's wild. So in the end, did you get 1% of the vote? Did you? I mean, how does it work?
Let me explain what happened. So we were standing against Labour and the Green Party. And we're very much aligned with the Green Party and very much against Labour. And the local press said it was going to be a very close vote with about 1,000 votes in between. And we had 1,000 registered voters. So we did a survey on the Monday before the election to say, well, what's our chances of getting more than 1,000? And the answer was not a lot. So we interviewed 1,000 people, and basically we'd only achieved 8% awareness in the Brighton area, which meant that we couldn't get a maximum more than 2,500 votes. But those 2,500 votes could have swayed between Labour and Green. So we actually pulled out of the election on the Monday and told all our voters to vote for the Green Party. But here again, this just shows the local press, because the Green Party won by 28,000 votes to 14. So we had no need to pull out whatsoever. So the answer is we have no idea how many votes we would have got, because the only people that voted for us were the people that ignored us and voted for us rather than the Green Party. So who knows? We got 179 official votes, but I don't count that, because if you pull out, you can't count how many you would have got.
Wow. No, I mean, you definitely made the waves. I mean, it was all over Twitter, LinkedIn. I mean, you got on CNN and the great Imagine AI Live podcast here. So I want to talk about your current project that you've got going on, because it's really interesting.
Okay, let me give you a little bit of background. So to remind the audience, I own an incubator called Neural River, and we recruit really smart grads and master people out of university. And we say to them, we'll pay you a salary, and one day a week you work on your own projects. And then once it's approved, half your time's on your own project. And then the idea is we spin you out of a separate company. We put people around you to help manage that business, because you're probably not that good at running a business if you're a great AI tech person. So that spun out already a couple of businesses. And one was Neural Voice. And in the pub, we got drunk. And a lot of our best ideas come from the pub, by the way. And we came up with AI Steve as a way of doing my candidacy for politics. But when people heard AI Steve and heard how rich and depth and knowledge he had about my political ideas, they went, well, why don't you record your whole life? I went, actually, that's a good idea. I don't fancy dying. If I do die, I'd like to leave a legacy. And one of the things that's very clear is that when you die, your family may remember you. Your kids will remember you. Your grandkids may remember you. But think about your own life. What do you know about your great pet grandparents? Diddly squat. That means absolutely nothing in English. So therefore, you're wiped off the face of the earth within 3 generations. And you have no legacy, and you have no genealogical route that people can actually talk to you. They might be able to look up your name, but they can't ask you any questions. And I wanted to solve that.
So it's a legacy AI. It's somebody that you tell your life story to, you upload your life story. Then what does it look like?
Okay, so there's 2 stages. So the first of all is, why do only rich people or famous people get to record autobiographies, recording their lives? Don't seem fair to me. So for $4.99, which is about $600, you get 5 interviews with an AI of 45 minutes each. And it's on your early life, your education, your family. You can have your political views if you like. And basically, it creates a written autobiography. So it records those conversations, uses large language models to create a written autobiography. And that can be exported, and you can have a large red book with all your photos and your biography in. but mostly it forms the base of a large language model, personal to you. So you can record your voice if you want, or you can have a third-party actor if you don't feel comfortable with your voice being recorded. And in the future, any of your relatives or descendants can talk to you about your life and have a conversation with your AI echo about your life. So we called it the ultimate genealogical tool because you can talk to your relatives long after you're dead. But there's also some interesting spin-outs of that some people like and don't like.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. And first, so this is like, is it stored on some web server and you can access it via a website and talk with the person?
Yeah, but so the key point about this is simplicity. Yeah, because we're a lot of life's echoes, we're aiming it for 60-year-olds, 70, 80-year-olds. Yeah, quite often gifted by their children or their grandchildren for a big birthday or Christmas or Thanksgiving. And then basically they have to press one button on a website, one button. They don't have to know anything about AI. And it just starts a conversation with AI Sarah, who interviews them. Yeah, and they sit on the comfort of their couch, from the comfort of their home, and record their life. Now, once that's done, it's obviously stored highly securely because it's very rich personal information, and you can have it back at any time. You can delete it at any time, and you have to appoint an executor for after you're dead to control it. But that then forms the basis of the large language model. It creates an AI character using your voice, and future generations can talk to it.
So it is an AI voice cloning as well.
Correct. So basically, it's 3 stages. It's an AI interviewer. It's created autobiography in a written format, using that as a large language model and sampling your voice and using that if you want, or using an actor's voice and a third party's tense to talk about your life. So imagine, I could play it to you in a minute. You can have a play and you can talk to AI Steve and you can ask it anything you like about my life.
What about do you have plans to do AI avatar of the person? Like maybe I would like to be remembered in my best form when I was 32 in the best shape of my life.
This is what we're exploring at the moment because we've also created what we call an ethics committee because I'm a great technologist, but do I know anything about death? Do I know anything about the grieving process? No. So we specifically recruited a ethics committee that's headed by Janet, who is a celebrant and a renowned author about the grieving process. And she's helped us recruit a palliative care doctor, specialist, funeral director, and a psychologist. So we've gone to them and said, okay, what's good and how do we do no harm? So, for example, we've restricted our commercial profits by saying you can only talk to this 1 hour a day and then you have to take a break because it could be used by people who are grieving to connect too closely to one they've recently lost. So we've had to think these things through, and they've advised at the moment not to make it, quote, creepy. And having an avatar or a person there, it could get a little bit too creepy. So that's why we're using the voice as an option. We're using a picture of yourself as an option, but we've not tried to make you move. We've not tried to make you a hologram. We've not tried to do all these things because there's a balance between reality and creepiness, because this is a Marmite product. Let's be very clear. Your audience, some of them will go, oh, this sounds good. And a lot of them will be going, oh, I'll never do that. That's awful. Yeah. And we've already had some kickback from certain religions saying, oh, we can't do that.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. And when you emailed me, my dad was visiting 2 months ago, and he had the same idea that you made your business around. And he's like, Chris, this is an opportunity here. This is a great idea. Like, wouldn't you want like grandpa to be able to talk with grandpa right now? Like, you can do this for me. I'm sure there's be a lot of other people that would want to do this. And my mom was like, no way. I'm not letting you do grandpa's voice. And there's going to be people that see the benefit of it and then people that don't. And tell me about more of the pushback.
Before I do, can I have the name and address and bank account details of your father? Because I'd like to have more investors, please.
So, yeah.
We only need 1 in 1,000 people to do this to make it profitable because it's completely AI based. We're having a team of about 5 people. Everything else is run by AI. So it's a really asset-light business. So we know this is not for the mass market. We're not pitching it to the mass market. But we've already had kickback from Catholics, for example. And do you remember with AI Steve, I got death threats? Yeah, somebody's going to put an act through the computer, an act through their head and all this rubbish. Oh, my God. Mistakenly went back and said, well, if you're hard enough, see if you can find the plug. By the way, not the right thing to do to mad people. You should just ignore them and don't get anywhere near them. So this time we're taking that policy. So we've had a Catholic come on and say, it's against my religion and you're going to burn in hell forever and you should stop this immediately before God strikes you down. Okay, that's your opinion, right? And everybody's got their own opinion. But let's go back to the essence of what we're trying to do. It's called life's echo. We're not downloading you. We're not capturing your soul. We're not taking a photo of an Indian and pretending that's capturing their soul. We're just going out there and saying, look, download your life, create an autobiography, and let future generations talk to that autobiography. It's just an echo of you. It's not trying to do anything more than that.
I think that's the good approach, that it's the echo and it doesn't replace you. I mean, it's just social media, for example, like when you see a presence of a social media, it's just a representation of you in a moment, like typing on a screen or recording into a camera. And the AI thing, I guess, I mean, it's pinned on the interview, right? I mean, it's pinned on the stuff that you're giving it and, you know, uploading your resume, your biography, the things that happened in your life. I think a lot of people want that. Like I want my record of all the things that I've done, the accomplishments I've done and places I've been, people I've met. I would love to have it easily stored and be able to like quickly find this information and help other, like my family members, especially when I'm long dead and gone, to be able to peruse the life that was Chris Madden, you know?
I'll give an example. So obviously we've designed it for family members, and the vast majority of the time when you sign up, you have to appoint an administrator, because obviously who controls this when you're dead? So we have an administrator and a deputy administrator, just like you have a power of attorney when you're alive. And you set who can have access to it. You have to literally give the names and the email addresses, and they control access to it. Or if you're a bit of an egotistical maniac like me, you can make it public, because I don't particularly care. So I made mine public, and I was in the pub with a friend the other day, and I said, oh, try this. And he said he'd learned more about me in 15 minutes and he'd known in 10 years by just talking to my life echo. Because I didn't tell him about where I was born. I didn't tell him about my childhood. I didn't tell him about my friends and relatives, etc., my first love. Whereas the life echo's got all of that stored.
Okay, that was my question. What's your first love? Do you have it ready where we could try it out?
Yeah, sure. Let's just go in. All right, sorry, Steve. I was busy setting up there. So tell me a few things about your life. First of all, what was your first love? Who was your first love, sorry?
My first love was Leslie Chapman. Met her at 16. We were together 4 years, full of ups and downs, a real romantic roller coaster, different life aspirations. You know, it was a classic case of young love with a side of reality. But hey, it shaped me into who I am. Those experiences, messy and all, taught me a lot about relationships.
So,
okay.
You and Leslie, Steve, why did you leave her?
Well, it came down to different life aspirations. I mean, we were both kids trying to figure out who we wanted to be. Adding the stress of an unexpected pregnancy and an abortion, it hit hard. We loved each other, but in the end, we split before I finished university. It's one of those poignant chapters of my life, a real eye-opener. But hey, every experience counts, right?
So that gives you a sample.
Wow. First of all, it's improved so much in the last 6 months since we last talked. I mean, it's quicker. It certainly sounds like your voice. And then, the kind of the raw, you're not exactly sure what it's going to say, right? I mean, bringing up, you had an abortion, like that's real life stuff that happens, and I think that's probably part of the thing that people are worried about is like, do I want that information out there?
So first of all, remind you, public idiots like me, not many people do it. We think 98% of people, it will be private to their invited guests, their invited family, their invited close-knit community. Not many people are going to go, hey, anybody in the world can talk to me. So imagine as a politician, I've now documented that one of my girlfriends early in life had an abortion. You know what? Because that's the right thing, because I believe in choice. Why do I believe in choice? Because my girlfriend at an early age had an abortion.
Yeah, definitely. And putting yourself all out there. I wonder if you give it the option where you kind of scrub certain things. Like you're the one that's providing the info, right? But I mean, if you're uploading documents or if you're a public person where this stuff is known, I guess it's just interesting.
So look at the basics. Public, not public, private. And we're building an option to have certain things that only revealed after your death.
Oh.
So again, because we've been asked for that. And it's like, I don't want people knowing this before I'm dead. But when I'm dead, I don't really care. I find it a bit strange, actually, because surely if it's going to be damaging while you're alive, do you not think it's going to be damaging when you're dead? And that brings me on neatly to some of the things that we're debating and we're doing. So less controversial, we're creating a big red book. You won't have it in America, but we used to have a program called This Is Your Life, and Eamon Andrews came out with a big red book to a celebrity and then talked them through their life on TV. So we're creating a big red book, which is your autobiography in writing, but of all your photos already embedded in that, so that you can basically hand it around at your funeral. So one of the things that's happening in the UK, and I don't know how it in America, is what they call direct funerals. So basically, the body goes from the hospital straight to the cremation, no people present, is cremated and then sent back to the family. Now, 28% of cremations in the UK are done that way. So where's your closure event? So what we're saying to people is, okay, if that's what you want to do because it saves money, basically, why don't you hire a hall, have your friends and family around and host your own funeral? So we're creating the ability to have the last word where you can give your speech at your own funeral and you can have conversations with people you invite to your funeral celebrations to talk to you. Now, some people really hate that. But think of the alternative. You're just sent off to the cremation, you're burnt, and you're gone, right? And you actually are passed back to somebody to scatter. So if that's going to happen, take control. Say, no, I don't want that. I want this to happen. And again, it won't be for everybody, but it will be for some people. That's highly controversial.
Well, it's interesting. Somebody said to me recently that humans, our thoughts are very unique, but when really we're having similar thoughts at the same time. And just like you and my dad had the same idea, I'm sure many people have had this idea, but you've acted on it, you've created it. And I'm sure other people will act on it and create it. And I'm sure many people will have it done. So, I mean, we're seeing the future here. You've created it. I wonder, has a funeral been done with this yet? Has there been an AI avatar of a funeral? Because it's going to happen.
Well, we will be the first. Hopefully not with my funeral, but hopefully we will be the first. But no, we've got to recruit people to do this. And unfortunately, those people have to die. So I'm not sure I really want it to have been a rush. But again, another thing the Ethics Committee have done is made us look at the charitable side of this. So we've already decided that 5% of all licenses will be given away free. And we're targeting to those people who are doing assisted dying. Because our view is if you're in that assisted dying process, you've probably got 12 weeks, 2 months to go. And if we could help in any way, shape or form to help you leave a legacy, because it's the people left behind that suffer, to make it easier for those people left behind, we'd do it. So unfortunately, that could be the reason that we become the first person to host AI funeral. But I'm not sure I want that claim, actually, thinking about it.
Well, again, we're talking about what's going to happen in the future here. I mean, this is capable. People can do it. Some people see the value in it. It's going to happen. And really, just like wills, a lot of people forget to do their wills or they do it at the last minute. It's kind of something like that where you're not going to, especially as technology is improving so much and everything, you do it now. But if you're feeling young and healthy, or if you don't, it's the people that know the end is coming that they start thinking about this and they wonder about their legacy and what they have written down, what's publicly available, all the documents on their hard drives, like coalesce all that and to gather it in one place and to create your echo avatar, your echo of yourself after you go. There is a big appeal to that, I think.
Chris, I can give you one example. Did you know that your Facebook account, when you die, is locked and disappears after 6 months? Unless you've left a specific policy about what happens with it? I think 98% of the population don't know that. So all those rich pictures, all that rich history, all that, years and years I've got on Facebook just disappears. So you've got to make a decision about where you're going to store your photos, for example, where you're going to store your videos. Why not have an autobiography that goes along with those photos and explains it? Why not have something in 20, 30 years that grandkids can chat to rather than just look up a genealogical tree? What was that idiot in our industry stood to be a politician? That AI Steve guy, what was that all about? What was he thinking? Well, that's a great way of storing that and passing that on to future generations. And that's the basis of our aim.
And I think the biggest challenge potentially for your company is just building the trust, and that you've got to be able to trust one person, one company with all of your data and storing your echo and doing it for eternity, essentially. I mean, just thinking about all my Facebook photos deleting, I want them to be around. I want people to be able to look at them, but I want them to be in a place where I know it's trusted. And for me, I'd probably have it public or private to family members, but just one place. It's not scattered across different accounts, just one place.
So let's talk about that one place. So again, having the Ethics Committee, sitting down and thinking about this, we're coming up with what we call a death time guarantee. Sounds a bit odd. You've got lifetime guarantees. Well, this is a death time guarantee, because what happens to my data after I'm dead? And that's why we've got basically people, executives appointed to control that. Yeah. And then deputy executives control that, and they can appoint people if they get older, because the whole idea is this is available for a long period of time. We're also putting a certain amount of our profits, we haven't decided yet how much yet, into a trust fund to make sure that that computer power is always there. Because, if it's there for 30, 40 years, who's paying for it? So we have to build a robust business that's got some money in trust, that looks after the long-term things. We thought long and hard about the security. We've got loads of texts on the security. Security's, anybody can be hacked in the long term, but we've done a lot of work to make sure we can't be hacked. We've also done a lot of work to say, okay, what happens if people change their mind? Well, simple answer, we give the data back. We scrub it. We give a copy of it to them, and away they go. So it's just thinking these things through and getting the right people around you to help you. Because I can think through the tech side, I can think through the financial side. The ethical side, no, I had to recruit a committee that's sitting there saying, no, don't say that, Steve. Don't do that. Don't use this phraseology. This is how death works. This is what you should be thinking about. So I think we are taking it seriously, a bit like the politician side. We took it deadly seriously. It may sound like a joke. It may sound like something weird. It's not. It's practical, and we're trying to actually create a great product.
Yeah, wonderful. And you're moving fast and you're adapting to technology and the change that's happening. And it's great to see. And I mean, it's super practical, cool. I mean, cool might not be the right word, but I mean, it is.
It's Marmite. You either hate it or you're loving it. It sounds like you're
Marmite. I was wondering what you were saying. Marmite, the Australian spread, right?
Yeah, it's a Marmite bread. It's like you either hate this thing or you think it's brilliant. So I'm using UK. What's the American equivalent of Marmite?
It's a good question. I have to think about it. But I think that should be a worldly known disgusting thing. I'm on the disgusting. That's disgusting side. So I think you've summed this up really well, and I'm excited to see the product and see it grow here. And there's so many. I mean, the marketing mind that I have, it's like, how do you propose this to people and get it in front of people, and then the right demographic. Like we said, it's really the people in the last months or year of their life that are going to be the quickest to sign on to.
No, do not agree.
No.
Yeah, this is really interesting. So I think you've got different segments of who might want this product. You've got terminally ill people, obviously. And we said we're trying to give that away free to them. But quite often we try to pitch this as a giftable product by children and grandchildren to their older parents, so they don't leave it too long before they record their lives. Unfortunately, my mother died of dementia. So I lost her for the last 5 years, and she just wasn't there. And I wish that I'd come up with this product earlier, so I could have documented her life, recorded her life, and delivered to her what I'm delivering to other people. Because unfortunately, her life is lost. It's in my mind, be in my children's mind, but it'll be gone after that. So we believe it's a giftable product. We're targeting younger people to give it to their parents. We're targeting people when they first think about death, so when they take out life insurance. We're trying to do deals with car delivery companies like Moonpig in the UK. So when somebody says it's his 60th birthday, bang, hit him with the product. So there's a lot of different ways, and it's not just when you're on your last legs and you think, oh, I better do something before I die. We're trying to make it something that you actually start earlier in life, and you can start early as 20 and just why can't you keep a diary? It's an electronic diary. It's nothing more than that, really. It's just documenting your life.
So you said it's $600, and then is there a yearly storage subscription fee?
No, $600 is records your life echo, creates your autobiography, creates your character, and your lifetime storage. If you want to talk to it, you will have gift minutes to other people to talk to it, or they will buy minutes to talk to it. So there is an ongoing income from the people talking to it, but it's a fixed fee for the creation of your life echo.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Do you have the packages for the amount of usage?
Yeah, it's all on the website. Basically about £20 for 2 hours talking to it. So it's not expensive.
Yeah, I mean, just like all of these AI products, the more you use it, the more expensive it is. So that makes sense. Well, Steve, I think we've covered your new product here very well. And I'm wondering, anything else? Sounds like you're doing a lot of stuff.
Let's wrap up on world politics.
Sure. Yeah, please. So first, let's just wrap up the kind of lessons from using the AI politician, an AI representation of you that somebody could go and talk with your chatbot.
Okay, so let's go through the stats we got from that 1,000 people survey. It's not huge, but it gives you a good idea. Awareness, 8%, so failure. We didn't actually get people aware of what we're doing and what AI Steve stood for. But consideration, if they'd heard of us, was at 60%. So
Wow.
basically, people went, actually, when I first hear AI, Steve, I think, oh, this is madness. But when I hear about a politician that's available 24/7, can talk to you about your policies, you can have a conversation with him, and that's all recorded to data mine to create new policies, you go, yeah, I sort of get that. And what people really liked was the fact that we'd split it between those that created policies and the validators, which were just commuters, to make sure that those policies weren't too left-wing, weren't too right-wing, and actually resonated with the day-to-day common man, common lady. They really liked it. And the most thing they liked was the idea of a politician might go to Parliament and continue to do what they told them rather than disappear for 4 years and do what the hell they liked. So that went down very well. So what we've decided is it's impossible in the UK to get elected as an independent. Yeah, it's never, ever happened. 5 independents were elected this Parliament, but they're all senior leaders of previous parties. So starting from scratch independent, not going to work. So we're now working with some of the bigger parties like Reform, and we're talking to the Conservatives again, because we don't care which party takes the technology up. We just want a reformed democracy to make sure that politicians are in touch with the people. And the only way to do that is to make sure they're 24/7 available. And AI is a good product for doing that.
We'll get to your new product, but I can't miss to not bring up Elon Musk right now because he's just everywhere. You know, every day he's talking about UK politics. What do you make of that?
Well, he's a bit of an irritating little shit, really, because he should focus on his own politics. Just because he won the election by backing Donald Trump doesn't mean there's things that he should fix in the US. So, yeah, we welcome some of his comments, but some of it's clearly he doesn't live in the country, doesn't understand actually what's going on. And criticising our leader for saying that he didn't clear up paedophile rings, etc. Oh, come on. Yeah, he's not a bad man. Yeah, so he did try to fix that. Do I like Starmer? Not particularly. But you can't criticise him for rubbish like that 10 years ago and say he's a paedophile because he didn't clear up paedophile rings. He's going too far and butt out of our politics. Get back to the US, please, Mr. Musk.
Yeah, it just amazes me so much that one man has like the biggest microphone in the world and he can just get in front of people and like people have to address it. And it's probably only going to get more so, you know, if he doesn't, you know, he's going around getting every country's politics. I mean, Canada, he just made a post about South Korea today, Germany.
Welcome to the modern world.
Yeah.
So if you're a politician, you don't understand social media, you don't understand AI, you don't understand how well this world is changing, you're going to be out of power fast. So it's a very interesting time. And Elon Musk carries a lot of weight and a lot of power. And if he puts $50 million behind the Reform Party, guess what? The Reform Party are going to win more seats. But is there any reason he shouldn't do that? No, because if the Labour Party can take all their money from unions and the Conservatives can take it from rich people, why can't Reform take it from Musk? That's the rules of the game.
We almost got you on before the U.S. elections to talk about the dollarization of American politics, of politics in general. Give us your newest ethos on politics.
Okay, so I always describe to the US politics as a dollarocracy. That was the word, dollarocracy, because your last 5 presidents have all been millionaires before they got elected. So it basically says you can't be the top of the tree in American politics unless you're rich to start with. So you're managed and controlled by rich people. But guess what? So are we. So instead of having millionaires, our last 5 prime ministers have all gone to Oxford or Cambridge. So it's an educational, historical legacy where our politicians never have proper jobs. They're politicians from birth, go to university, do politics, and then go and run our country. All of that is madness because you want to have more business people involved who've actually run businesses, can run a country like a business. So guess what's happened? Donald Trump, your insane leader, is a superb, well, is he a superb businessman? Don't know. But he's a respected businessman who's run a large business and he got elected because your population said, to hell with politics, we just want somebody to make us more wealthy and run the country properly. And from what I see of his policies on running the country, I'm massively supportive. In terms of what I see about world politics, oh my God, he's a scary beast. But you know what? Let's see what happens. So you have a new president coming. We've got a new government in place. Haven't done that badly so far, the Labour Party. They haven't done that great either. But we're both in economic situations where it's tough. So bluntly, neither will get elected after the next 4 years. So good luck. Let's see what you've got to do in the next 4 years. But Trump scares me.
Yeah, I think we're all going to be watching to see what happens. It was a close election, but it was crazy to see how Trump won out. He did better than he did in 2020 in almost every county in America, almost universally. And kind of a clear sign to the Democrats that they've got to change their messaging. They've got to do something different. And part of that might have been, Biden stepping down too late and Kamala Harris being appointed, raising her hand to run the shot at it. But I feel, the Democrats kind of they're headless right now. They got to coalesce around a new vision they couldn't beat Trump. So they got to do something different.
All they have to do is what the Labour Party did, is shut up and wait for Trump to implode and then take over next time. That's their best policy. Don't have any policies. So in the UK, the Labour Party this time got elected with zero policies. They just stood still, kept quiet, and watched the Conservatives implode with multiple leaders, etc., in a declining economy. So if Trump gets the economy going, and he could do this radical stance on import taxation, etc., America first, that could work on an economical basis. So the best chance that the Democrats have got is shut up, have a puppet, doesn't say a lot, and wait for Trump to implode.
Yeah, well, bringing it back to AI here, he does seem very AI friendly, at least. Like he sees that America needs to invest in this AI infrastructure, and he's trying, all these tech companies are courting to him, and it should be huge waves in this technological process. And, as an American, hoping that America stays number one in this space. So
the interesting one, I think, is Musk. Whether you like Musk or don't like Musk, I passionately believe he will sort out your governmental infrastructure, rationalize it, slash loads of jobs, and put AI in to actually drive it. So you've got one of the biggest opportunities, because you've got Trump, who's a maverick, you've got Musk, who's a AI technician, and if he allows them to slash the cost out of US infrastructure, that is massively beneficial. If he could do that in the UK, I would have Musk over here tomorrow, because we also need it, but we haven't got the political willpower to deliver it. You have. That could be really interesting.
They've got a mandate right now, so we'll see how they use it. Well, Steve, this has been a fascinating conversation. I look forward to talking with you again and hearing all the updates on your Echo project. And what's the name of the company again for people to find it?
Really easy.
Life's Echo.
Life's Echo, with an S, obviously. Life with an S, Echo. Because it's called an Echo, we're not capturing your soul. We're just doing an autobiography and capturing something for the future. .com or .co.uk.
Amazing. Yeah, good name. I do hope to see AI Steve run again in the future, revamped. You'll have a supporter abroad here. Thank you, Steve, for joining our podcast. And I just want to plug again that we have our second conference coming up May 28th to the 30th in Las Vegas. It's at the same location we did it last year. It's going to be bigger and better. And we'd love to, have you there.
Thank you very much. I've always liked little visits to Las Vegas, but they end in tears normally.
All right. Thanks, Steve. Bye-bye.